Hello everybody, this is a quick video about debugging in Chrome. Some people in the course, the Code Academy course in progress, have expressed sort of, I want to have a nice basic easy video on how Chrome debugging can work, and so that's what I'm hoping to achieve here. I'm sorry if I ramble, but let's get going. So you'll see that I've got rock, paper, scissors open now. What I just want to confirm to you is I'm using the solution code from the advisors instead of my own code, and reason being so that everybody can get the same file and see exactly what I'm looking at in Visual Studio Code when I get to showing you how to do a quick console log, for example. But this page should hopefully be familiar to you. The reason why Chrome debugging, or debugging in general, in this way is important is because sometimes a program having an error is not necessarily related to the code being in a bad way and stopping, or it's more about it might give you an outcome you're not expecting. So for example, in this one you might have got a tie when you expected one of the players to win. So let's get started with some breakpoints. So to open, first thing, open Chrome. I've already done that. This also works in Firefox, but it's a tiny bit different. Most people seem to be using Chrome on the course, so we'll go with that. And Control-Shift-I will open the developer tools, hopefully. There we go. Okay, so some of you might have seen this before, some of you may have never seen this before. This is basically an area of Chrome where you as a developer can go and start doing some really cool things to help you out. One of the tabs that I think will become more important later in the course potentially is the network tab, which I've used before, and the console tab is obviously important too. But we're going to start off with sources. Now what sources is basically all the files that make up your application. So you can see I've got rock99, JS, index, and then I've got the game logic, which should be extremely familiar to everyone because this is the file we needed to work on. And as you can see, it's the raw source code. So why would we want that? Well, basically because what we might want to do during our development is step through and figure out what's going on at any point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a breakpoint on round 1 winner, round 2 winner, round 3 winner. Now, all I'm doing here, as you can see, is clicking these lines. Now, what it will do is it sets a breakpoint, and what a breakpoint does is it stops the application at that point so you can see what's going on. I'm now actually just going to play the game quickly, human versus human. Let's just push this through, and what's going on in the background is the application is running, as we expect. When it gets to this point, it's going to what's called a break, which should probably be around when it's calculating who wins from memory. So we'll just let this run through. Okay, and as you can see, what's happened is in the background, the application looks like it's crashed, but in actual fact it hasn't. It's stopped at a breakpoint. So then you've got, it's stopped here, as you can see, it's running this function. It's going to tell me that's actually being executed on 66. And then what it will do is I can either say go to the next breakpoint, or I can do what's called stepping into the code. Now what that means is when I press this, it will go to what next executes in the code. As you can see, it's then gone to figure out round 2. So round 1 winner was a tie, round 2 was a tie, and round 3 was a tie. So what's happening here is obviously it's going off to the next application, but next part of the application. But what you see here is that instead of continuing on, even though there's a breakpoint, because I've stepped into the code with this particular option here, step over next function call, and you can also do this by pressing F10, it's just going to step through the code step by step for me. So I can now see that the variable round 1 winner is set to tie because it's calculated that elsewhere. if I am confident now that I found my problem and I just want to get on with the application, then I can just go there and it will just resume the whole thing. So we just get the 3 round winners, and then I'm going to go resume script. And what happens is the application will finish. So that's breakpoints in a nutshell. I'll just do one more quick example. How about this, where it's doing a calculation on the actual rock, paper, scissors moves. Alright, start it off again. Finalize, finalize, away we go. So what's going to happen is, it's going to run through the application. Now, something's happened here. I've set a breakpoint, but this particular element never executed. Now, why would that be? That's because, as you can see in the code, it says if player move type equals scissors, stop. Well, like I'm setting a breakpoint there. Player 2 never set scissors, so let's make sure that that happens. Player 2, finalize. And round 2, it should break. And there we go. So it's calculating now the round 2. As you can see in the background, it stopped. And in the foreground, or in my code, it's calculating, or it's telling me, hey, you wanted a breakpoint here. Player 1 move type was rock. So it's telling me player 1 move type was rock. Player 2 move type equals scissors. So this is, breakpoints are extremely good for figuring out at a point in time in the code what is going on. And it's really good for trying to figure out situations where, you know, the application is getting through to the end, but it's just not giving you what you want, or it's not giving you the test application that we need to run for our code is not saying that it's correct. You might have, for example, a tie when it shouldn't be a tie. Well, this will help you figure that out, because a situation where you'll be able to see, oh, maybe player 1 move type is being set incorrectly. And that's extremely hard to see if you're just looking at the source code or if you're just running the test. So Chrome debugging, it's well worth learning. Now, just one quick thing before I finish up. Console logging. So I'm just going to finish this off. Remove that. Now, the other thing is, to remove a breakpoint, just click it and it will go away. I'll let this finish before I get to console logging. Now, the other thing that you might want to do is see what something's doing at a particular time. Let's figure out where I can add a console log that makes sense. Okay, let's do this. So this is where it's setting player 1 wins and player 2 wins to 0. So it's doing the get game winner function. What I'm going to do here is just console log at this point. What player 1 wins is equal to, and what I tend to do is add a nice string to understand what I'm talking about. So this is player 1 wins, and then you need to put a space at the end, and then like that. Okay, so I've saved that. I'm going to restart the application. I'll reload the page. Sorry. I'm going to sit on the console and just do this. So it's just going through the application, and we're going to start calculating winners, so the console log should come. And there you go. So player 1 had 0 wins in that particular situation, which matches up. It was 0-0, tie for all. And I can see in the console log that I've managed to log this as player 1 wins 0. So 0 is the value of player 1 wins from here. And I've just realized I've put that in not necessarily the right position. It's always going to be 0 there. So let me just quickly fix that. And I will console.log player 1. I'll console.log both of them. This is player 1 wins. And console.log, this is player 2. Okay, what will happen now, hopefully, is those numbers will be a bit different. Quickly go through, set it all up, wait for it to go through. Now what I'm going to do quickly in the console, well, it's already done it, but if you find you've got too much stuff in the console, getting confused by previous runs, click that, we'll clear it. Just waiting. And it was a tie because none of them won. So there you go. What that meant obviously is it was with the different elements that were chosen between the two players, they both tied up. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a nice overview as to how to do some breakpoints. It does get easier over time. I think obviously looking at Google's site around breakpoints, developer tools will really help, but hopefully, giving this context to a project you've already worked on will really help you understand how breakpoints can help you in the application itself. All right, thanks for that. I hope you enjoy.